Hi. So, my name is Angela Skirtu, and I'm here to talk to you about infidelity. My book is coming out, Helping Couples Overcome Infidelity, a Therapist Manual, and it comes out January 28th, 2018. So, in today's tip about infidelity, I want to talk to you about competing timelines. So I'm a sci-fi fan. I always talk about different timelines when it comes to infidelity because I'm a Doctor Who fan. And so anyways, watch the show. Like you can have kind of two different timelines going at the same time. So the hard thing with an infidelity is that's what's happening here is that the person who did commit an affair, their timeline starts way back here. And then for the person who finds out, their timeline starts here, D-Day, and we always call it like D-Day or like the big day, the explosion, whatever. And so, basically, the timelines are going at different times. And part of what makes it difficult is that for the person who did commit the infidelity, they have been living their timeline a lot longer than the person who just found out. And so, a lot of times, the person in this position really wants things to be over and over quickly. They're like, well, I mean, this already happened. I don't understand why you can't get over this just yet. And part of the reason that happens is because they've lived their timeline longer than the person who found out. The person who just found out, the person who got cheated on, their timeline starts right when they find out information. And the crazy thing is every time they find out new information, it's like the timeline starts all over again. It repeats itself until they have the last piece of information out. This is why, like I've mentioned in my last video, it's so important to just let them know all the details at once. Like, throw it all out there. Don't leave anything out because then, okay, your timeline finally starts. And what does this timeline mean? So essentially, treatment starts once that timeline begins for the person who was cheated on. And treatment is difficult, but it's not impossible. I've helped a lot of couples work through this. But the worst thing is when somebody who did cheat doesn't give all the information at once. And so then we start this treatment and they start building trust and start like really figuring things out for each other. And then it's like, oh no, new information comes out because they were scared to tell their partner. They didn't want to hurt them, but it hurts worse coming out a month later or 2 months later. So it's much better to just put it out there, let them know those things so that your timeline can start. As a couple, actually. And what I mean by that is your timeline for healing. And then what happens there is that that timeline can take a long time. I want to set some reasonable expectations here. So the first 3 months is the toughest after the timeline really starts because it's a big up and down of a roller coaster. And then after that, it starts to get a little better, but it's still like there's times where you have good days and then it seems like you go through that roller coaster again. Times where you have another few good days, you go through the roller coaster again, and it just repeats itself like that for a while. And I mean, the timeline can take anywhere from a year to 2 years to 3 years. Some people would say that they're really spending the rest of their lives really making up for it. And that doesn't mean that like 5 years from now you're still groveling, because a lot of times, like if you do want to work on it and fix things with your partner, there is some initial groveling and apologizing and trying to make up for the mistake you made. I mean, that is a little bit a part of it. But going forward, what it looks like is maybe special dates need to be made important, and maybe you guys still need to really make each other a priority and think about what was missing in the relationship so you can fix those things and make the relationship strong. And so I would say that it's not that it will be horrible like that first 3 months for the rest of your life, but the couples who have the best successes really dig deep and really try to figure out what happened, why this happened, what were some of the things that they needed in the relationship so that going forward, there isn't a need for another infidelity. They can talk to each other. And I'm not saying that anybody should cheat. I mean, even phrasing it like it's a need. It's more that sometimes an infidelity occurs because somebody is missing something in the relationship, but they're not telling their partner. And I don't think it's the best idea to seek somebody outside of the relationship, but sometimes I guess it's just sometimes easier for people to find another relationship than to really confront the person that they need to confront. I would rather you talk to your partner and you guys come up with a way to figure that out and make your relationship better, but a lot of times it's happening this other way. And so a big part of treatment then is we're delving in and looking. We're delving in and looking at how we can make the situation better. So anyhow, this has been Angela Skirtu, and my website is www.therapistinstlouis.com. Please like, share, and subscribe, or write questions in the comments that I can answer for you, because I'm making all kinds of videos related to my book that's coming out on infidelity. Thank you. Bye.